Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. And hi, Françoise.
Hi, Tommy.
Oh, this is good. I mean, this is kind of sort of the start to our sort of split screen kind of thing, right? Because we're going to be doing this side by side teaching. We're
Yeah,
only 1 week away, actually, 1 week to the day, when we will
right.
do our very first class together. And that's so exciting. I'm so stoked for this.
I am
So,
too.
yeah, so it's going to be fresh look at flowers to wear, and you're certainly an expert and known for this, the floral couture. And I'm not so known for it, but I do have a whole bunch of tricks up my sleeve when it comes to mechanics and things. So together, I think we can cover a lot of grounds. That we can have a beautiful presentation from you on how you do your lot of the very detailed textural woodland kind of thing. That's what you're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So some of them might be a little more flowery, but in general, it will be more woodland, and
yeah,
there will be a bunch of techniques. Yeah,
yeah, because I think yours
yeah.
is like so textural. It's just like the whole thing is sort of very
Yeah. So
experiential from the
some of
textural
them
point
might
of
be a
view,
little more flowery.
right?
But say that again.
No, I was saying that
Yeah.
your the experience that you provide in your floral couture work is highly textural.
Right.
So much of
Yeah.
the product that you collect makes it just a wonderful textural experience.
Hmm. Yeah, I do love texture.
And you're so good at providing the kind of combination of material. I guess you'll be supplying us with some complete procurement list of some of the product that you use so that they'll have
Right.
time to sort of look for some of these material for their hands on.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of it I will get at the flower market, but I have a lot of uh, treasures here in the studio that I will totally incorporate, and I can mention where I get them or where I've gathered them. And of course, it's not because I can find them here in Portland that you can find the same things where you live, but it's just to give an idea the type of materials that
Yeah.
work really well to do the couture. Um, yeah.
I think, basically it's just giving and sharing that whole texture experience, what it is, this surface to this surface, because I think it's not always dependent on exactly that it has to be that material, but
Oh
to
no, absolutely not.
understand,
Yeah.
it's really,
Yeah.
isn't it, to understand the sort of sensuality of that quality of that material, and they may find it
Mhm.
in other places than,
Oh,
say,
totally.
like the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that was something that was so fun when I was traveling, because no
Yes.
matter where I went, it was always something different that I got to work with, and that made it super, super interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really, I think, about learning to see what's out there and to see the possibilities of what can be done with different textures, or when deconstructing flowers or anything, to see how those different little elements can be used so beautifully when you do couture.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're really good at like really fine tuning, examining details of flowers and capturing some of the special parts of flowers in deconstruction. I think you've done so many experiments in that area and you're so good at it.
Well, thank you. I have been incredibly influenced by this lady. Her name is Kathy Klein. I don't know if you follow her on Facebook or Instagram. And I discovered her years ago. She does mandalas with deconstructed
Oh,
flowers,
cool.
and they are magnificent. And that's really where I got the idea about deconstructing flowers, and to learn to look at all the different elements of flowers, uh, whether the flowers are kind of on their last leg, but you can still use some of the parts that look fabulous, or just take a totally fresh flower and take it apart and use the different elements for different parts of the design.
And I guess with flowers to wear, it's kind of really important that you do look at almost everything, whether it's too big a flower that normally
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily fit into a flora couture, because you can
Mhm.
deconstruct it and use its
Right.
parts, and that then fits
Yeah.
into a small earring, for instance.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I do that a lot with the Phalaenopsis orchids and with Cymbidium orchids because they're typically too big for what I want, but I love the throat, or I love this part, or I love this part, and then I can use them individually like that
Yeah.
instead of the whole flower.
Yeah. So not
So,
only then do you get the texture aspect, but also the color element, because
right,
Phalaenopsis, the throat, often has the coloration that is entirely different from the rest of the, it's more distinct, and you get that more
exactly.
blending of color in there. So you get that
Yeah,
as a feature. That is so
yeah,
cool. So there's a
yeah,
lot of basically like a real, it's it's deconstruction to reconstruct.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yes,
love that.
yes.
That's wonderful,
And
because there's such an element of composition, I think,
mhm.
in this process.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And because I love detail so much, it always goes to the very minimalistic part of the product that I use. And, or even something really simple like a poppy pod. If it's too big, it's too high, I just cut it in half. And then you can use both halves, the one that shows the seeds and the other one that shows the little cap. So I do the same with Nigella pots. So it's really interesting to cut them in half or fracture them like that, and then use the different elements that way, because they look so different.
Yeah. No, it's a real different way of looking at things, and I bet in
Mhm.
this process they'll learn a whole like a world that they had not even thought about. I guess that's kind of what you're going to reveal, is a new world for us to explore.
Yeah, and it's just like when I started to do woodlands, I started to look at the gardens and at nature through different eyes.
Right.
And once that I discovered the deconstruction of flowers or foliage or seed pods or whatever, uh, I just learned to look at it through different eyes and developed a curiosity about what would happen with this particular flower or with this particular seed pod if I do whatever. So yeah, it's fun.
So you must be also a kind of a master of knowing how different material behave in the process of gluing and how long it lasts. Do you sort of keep a journal on some of this kind of stuff, just so that you know the behavior?
I definitely, I always say my memory doesn't work very well anymore, but it really works pretty well. And it's probably because I'm so interested and passionate about it.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've done a lot of
yeah,
testing, and
that's wonderful.
sometimes things don't work, but most of the time, something good comes of it. And
Yeah,
then I think the cool thing about it is it just broadens the amount of material that you can use. Even though, you don't have to buy a lot, but you can just uh, give it a different look because you do use different elements of a particular flower or a particular seed pod or whatever.
cool.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see like your handling of material, because that's one of the things that I'm finding a little bit more difficult as I get older. Like just the handling of some of that, like even looking at um, like the grape hyacinth, like to handle all the
Oh,
little
uh-huh,
floret, like it's
uh-huh.
so. I mean, are you able to still do that with your hand, or do we have to use a tweezer?
No, I actually have these very small fingers, and maybe it's a good thing that I have small fingers. I always say I have kitty fingers. You know, it's like I never got these adult fingers that most people do. I never did. And so I usually don't use tweezers, and I definitely don't use tweezers when it involves glue, because then the glue gets onto the tweezers, and the glue from the tweezers gets onto the little blossoms, and then it just. I know that some people are really very adept at it. I'm not. So I
Well, your fingers still work really well.
my fingers still work.
No, I
Yeah.
think this is gonna be a lot of fun to delve into
Yeah.
all of that, because I myself haven't done a whole lot of that kind of major deconstructing, and so I think it's gonna be fun, sort of working side by side. My specialty is gonna be a little bit on just real pure mechanics, the surface to which that it's going to be glued to, what the possibilities are there. And there's the whole kind of like the metallic jewelry side, that a little bit exposed, and that's something that you don't do quite so much. So I think it helps us balance what we can
Oh,
offer.
absolutely.
I think they'll
Yeah,
get diversity,
absolutely.
and they'll have a lot more choices and
Yeah.
options. And so I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of fun, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, what do you
Yeah.
think, Francoise? I mean, we talked about this a little bit, how we're going to do this, but do you think that because being floral flowers to wear, floral couture, being some of it small work and some of it could be much bigger, because you certainly go to the extent of whole couture fashion and all of that, which we won't quite get into. We're not going to have any of these students building like a huge dress or anything like that just at this moment. But so because a lot of them, the earrings, necklaces, all of that is smaller work, don't you think that we're gonna kind of have them build a little collection?
Oh, I think that would be so fun
Yeah, I
to
think so
have,
too.
and they can, they can make things that kind of go together, like
Yeah,
the earrings that goes with the necklace, or bracelet or whatever. Yeah, I think that would be super fun.
yeah. And then even encourage them to, through the week, after they have our tutorial on the construction of it, so that they really get really tuned into what they need to do for their assignment, their projects. But they can try as much as they want, and they can share with
Oh,
us what they
absolutely.
create. I think
Yeah, absolutely.
that's the cool part of this, is it's not
Yeah.
a design that's a little
Right.
flower heavy. I mean, they have all these parts already, all these flowers already deconstructed, and that they can play with it in all different ways, so that they can share with us what they've learned as well.
Absolutely. And instead of making two the same earrings, make them different.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
for sure.
using the same different, and you can do a vertical one and a horizontal one using similar materials, but so have the experience of doing something different.
Yeah, I think so, because I think there's such a leeway, and to something that's a whole direction that could be different for them. I think it's going to be really a lot of fun. That's one of the things
Yeah.
that I really love about having a group of students. And you mentioned to me also how so often they'll come up with things that you learn, because like, wow,
Absolutely.
that's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
why the whole
absolutely.
student review side is going to be a lot of fun, because there's a lot of learning through what different designers, how they approach it. And to tap
Right.
into that is another whole lesson. So that's the whole value of you doing your thing, doing my thing, the student doing their thing. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so much lessons involved in that whole week of exploration. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think it's going to be great. And then we're going to also set up a Facebook page for us, so that we can also become a little sense of community of people that's involved in this, so that we can stay communicating with each other, which is really nice. We need that so much now, still with the COVID thing still going on, and that we still can't do quite the kind of in-person kind of workshop that we've had, that we still have the opportunity to stay connected.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
fun.
and one of the reasons I know that a lot of people who do the couture, the jewelry, that they buy the bases online, and it's something that I've never chosen to do, because if you work with wire, then you can create all these different shapes just simply with wire, instead of, if you buy one thing, then you're kind of stuck with you know, the design that you bought.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I really love about using the wire, where you can create so much diversity in the shape of whether it's a necklace or you know, anything that you make.
No, you're
So
absolutely right. Where you're actually building everything from grounds up so that you
right,
are the designer, which is really nice because that gives a certain distinction to your work. And I think what they're going to find too is that there's certain area that they'll feel real comfortable, like they're meant to do this. You know, some of
mm-hmm,
them probably maybe not even having done some of that work, but will find
right,
it very gratifying that it suits their personality to do it this way or that way. I mean,
right,
that's one of the things that I've always found with a lot of the retail florists is sometimes they don't have the patience to be, you know, tedious to actually do the fine
yeah,
detail. They want to buy something, but that's
mm-hmm.
okay. They can go and buy
Oh
a
yeah,
bracelet
it's
and you can
totally
glue
fine.
onto that
Yeah,
too. But to give
absolutely.
them the opportunity
Yeah,
also to do that extra designing
yeah,
that makes it
yeah,
more distinctly for them is
right,
some of what you'll be teaching and some of what
yeah,
I will be teaching as well. So it's
yeah,
that extra layer that they get to be more distinctly
yeah.
them, because I think they can develop. I mean, don't you think that they, like any designer, can kind of develop a little bit of a signature look to the way they approach it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to this format because it's kind of rather new to do it this way, and for you to kind of lead into the first of the series of 4 design workshops in different areas of floristry. And I know that I've picked the perfect partner to work with when it comes to floral jewelry and floral flowers to wear. So
Oh,
I'm so looking forward to it.
I so appreciate that you invited me to be part of this and to be able to co-teach with you. It's
Yeah,
really exciting for me.
it's gonna be
Thank
fun.
you
I
so
mean,
much.
I will
Yeah.
love being side by side with you and chatting away.
No, I'm certainly going to learn from you too.
Yeah, it's gonna
You
be
know,
fun.
cross-pollination here.
Exactly. That is a perfect, and we'll actually create all these wonderful hybrids. How's that?
There you go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
let's just talk botanically about this, right? And we can relate to all that. So yeah, looking forward
Yeah.
to it. And as I mentioned actually previously when we tried to do it on Instagram Live, you know, we do have an orientation session that is coming up sooner.
Yeah,
Actually,
I'll
even
just jump in because we're on YouTube, we can do things. Unfortunately, we're on YouTube, but fortunately, we can do things that we couldn't do on Instagram Live. So I will bring up.
oh
There
yeah,
we
that's
go.
great. Yeah, so we're bringing up the whole format, the Designing for Excellence virtual workshop series. So we are going to have an orientation session that's going to focus on elements and principles of design. I will be hosting it. Some of the others may be present with us, but I will sort of share sort of the backbone of how we conduct these workshops from assessed and it kind of explained in the terms of elements and principles of design, apart from the actual methods and techniques, and so that you're familiar with how the discussion will go. And hopefully, through the whole class, you know, if you take the whole series, you will be very conversant in the area of elements and principles of design. You'll know it intimately, so that if you are a teacher, you can certainly teach it more fully. And if you're a student of, you'll understand it to know it as we speak this way, so that then you can teach, because it's really the ingredient that really helps teacher become better teachers. So I think the whole process should be a very fine series that will give you plenty of feed for your elements and principle side of the theory teaching. So I think it's going to be really, really enriching for everyone that's involved. So I'm really looking forward to it all coming to life. It's going to happen next week, and I'm so thrilled to be working with Françoise very soon.
And the orientation sessions are right here on your YouTube channel, correct?
Yes, the orientation session is going to be on YouTube, and so that it's something that is available, and there's no charge for it. For those of you who's out there that's not gonna be involved in the workshop itself, but would like an introductory session to elements and principles, you're certainly welcome to join us. But for those of you who are actually going to be in class, you'll get a little heads up on how it's gonna all work conversationally, so that the teaching is just beyond showing how, that there's reason why and how and what. What you're going to use, which is the elements of design, how you're going to use it, which is the principle of design, and how the outcome, the composition, is effective because you use the elements and principle of design thinking to be able to do, to create. So I think when that whole process is complete, the end result always turns out so beautiful. And as a designer, to be able to speak about what you created, it becomes a little bit more meat behind what you say. And so I think you're going to really enjoy this whole educational process. So thank you, Françoise. It's going to be, I'm just so excited that I'm going to do the first one with you. And how cool that there you are in your studio in Portland, and here I am on Bowen Island looking out the window here. On a nice day. It's not raining, it's cloudy, but it's a good spring day. My daffodils are really just popping up like, it's so interesting being at home every day and seeing the progress of what's happening seasonally. I mean, that's the joy of being at home and working from home. How's your garden doing?
There's lots of hellebores blooming. It's so beautiful in the area here. The blooming trees are starting to pop up everywhere, and it's just so beautiful. So yeah, this is by far my favorite time of the year, when Mother Nature comes alive like this.
Yes,
blooming
yes.
trees, the daffodils, the crocuses are almost done here. Euphorbia's blooming. Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, so it should be a real treat for everyone to be able to see a little bits of your garden, little pieces from your garden, as well as mine, as well as hopefully I find some treasures at the market as well. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it is this week coming up.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, really excited to work with you, Françoise. So if you
Likewise.
If anybody's interested in this workshop with Françoise, you can sign up at designingforexcellence.com is where all the registration information is. So you can sign up for Françoise workshop with me for next week, or you can do the whole series. There's a whole series, and the package, the bundle, is actually very well discounted, so it may be of interest for you to take in all of them. So, but you can do either, because if you're particularly interested in Flowers Away, you cannot miss this session with Françoise. How's that? That's how I feel.
You told me.
Excellent.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
So I'm anticipating an exciting week ahead, and I hope we get to see many of you out there. And so we'll see what happens, but we'll certainly have fun no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Tony. Okay, thanks.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.
I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.